At the workbench with everything that is included in the packaging. We've got the included wiring bundle, face panels, fog lights with adapter brackets, and their included screws and plates. Let's go over the included wiring bundle with its universal switch unit. The switch unit can be disconnected and separated by unclipping these green connectors. Then we have the 15 amp fuse and the relay. We also have these direct connectors for the fog lights on each side. Next, we have two sets of black and red wires. The first set with an exposed end on the positive red wire and a black ground wire will power the switch unit. The second set of black and red wires are the connectors for the vehicle's battery. That completes our wiring bundle and we can head back to the tracks. We do recommend that you remove the wheel because we'll be starting in the wheel well. We need to remove this OEM liner piece by first unclipping 3 clips and then unscrewing these other 4 metal screws. We also have 4 screws to detach on the bottom. Use a screwdriver to easily notch out the clips, and a power tool with the right attachment will make quick work of the other 8 screws. Once those clips and screws are removed, we should be able to pull back the liner and access the area where we want to install our new fog lights. The next step involves removing this plastic OEM panel. Keep in mind that there are a bunch of clips holding this panel onto the tracks. So take your time to carefully remove this panel from the vehicle. Some of these clips can be a bit stubborn. But eventually it'll pop out and we'll be replacing this with our own panels as one of the last steps. Now we can go ahead and install these included lights. Be sure to place the right light on the right side. We need to grab these small screws and plates from earlier and carefully place the silver plate pieces with the open circle side facing out as shown. There are 3 points to secure on these plates on each side. We can now secure the lights on each side by screwing in the 3 points. Our lights are sitting firmly and we're ready to wire them up. Go ahead and repeat the same process on the other side. Next, grab your wiring bundle where we need to start laying out the direct connectors for both of these lights. The side with the longer wiring will run to the passenger side and the shorter will run to the driver's side. To achieve the optimal fit here, we'll be running the wires deep in the engine bay. For this reason, we won't be running these wires directly down. To achieve the optimal fit, we need to approach dropping the wires in from the side. Grab the side with the long wire, start from this compartment and run the wire through the inside to reach the passenger side fog light. There are different ways to secure and hide these wires that we'll be discussing later. Then we can simply plug the passenger side connector directly into the fog light. For this part of the wire, we need to be a little more careful in how we secure it. This silver metal part right here will get extremely hot when the vehicle is running, and we also want to steer clear of the fan on the other side. Fortunately, this protective shroud piece of the fan provides an ideal spot for a zip tie to secure it away from both. With both sides of the black harness now run successfully to both lights, we can move further up to the next part, where we find our relay and our fuse. Continuing on from there, we have these black, red, and white wires. The black wire will be secured to the battery's negative terminal, and the red wire will be secured to the battery's positive terminal. After securing these 2 points, the remaining white wire will then need to be run through to the interior of the vehicle. To do this, we need to first cut off part of the wire close to the green connector. It's a long wire that will run through the firewall behind the engine and will eventually connect back into the white wire. This will allow for the universal switch unit to function via the green connector from the interior of the vehicle. We'll be running it through a small plastic covered opening on the back wall. To help with this, grab a random piece of sturdy wire to help run the white wire through the small plastic covered opening and into the interior. To make the smallest opening possible, use a pick tool and then shimmy the random piece of wire through. This is why it needs to be a little sturdy. Once you have successfully run the random piece of wire through, you can connect it to the white wire. Take your time to create the strongest possible connection, as you'll be pulling it through with a fair bit of force into the interior. Slowly pull the white wire through and you'll be ready to detach the random piece of wire afterwards. We can now reconnect the white wires back into each other. Twist the wiring back together and use some electrical tape to ensure it is sealed.
Alright, we're almost done. Now we need to hook up this universal power switch for the fog lights. Now to do this, you have two choices. You can either use a constant power source or you can use an accessory power source. Now the constant power source is run through the fuse box and the accessory power source will be run through the cigarette lighter here. Now the difference being, if you use the constant power source, this thing will always be on and you'll be able to operate the lights without the engine being on. If you use the accessory power source, you'll only be able to use the switch when the engine is on. Now don't worry, either way you pick, it's not going to hurt your battery, it's not going to drain your power and put you in a stuck situation somewhere.
With the constant power source method, we start by loosening up this door seal around the driver's side door. This will allow us to use a picking tool to remove this side panel, which will provide us with access to the inside where we'll find this bolt. It can actually serve as a ground for us and we can connect our black ground wire to this bolt. Next, we're going to push in on the sides of the storage compartment and pull it out. Now we have access to the fuse box. You have the option to purchase this tool to tap into your fuse box. It can be purchased from any auto parts store. With the wires successfully connected, your universal switch unit should be lighting up. And with the press of a button, indicating a job well done. The adhesive on the back of the switch unit will now allow you to place it wherever is most convenient for you. We're now completely done with the interior of the Trax. One of the last steps is to head back under the hood and clean up all of your wires. Zip ties come in handy here. And give special attention to this part of the wire. Make sure it sits well above the silver plate and the fan on the other side. With everything under the hood looking clean, the very last step is to install our included fog light covers. Now, like the OEM cover plates, these have a bunch of clips around the sides. You'll need to carefully insert this fog light cover and gently tension in all of the clips. Don't forget to reattach the 3 clips and the 8 metal screws for each OEM liner. And you'll be left with some stylish new fog lights for your Chevy Trax. You just added a mighty punch of light to your 2017 to 2020 Chevy Trax. Enjoy.